Um, anyway, so we got to this part. So you're starting to establish boundaries, and you're starting to realize that you don't have to put up with crap because you have a reason to do something more valuable. Then once we get there, this is when we start building on these successes. Next step would be fashion or style. You got to build your sense of style. That's getting your clothes fitted. That's learning how clothes are put together and giving a crap about how you look. I know Tanner, he loves to rag on cargo shorts and flip-flops, and I don't blame him because I don't care if you guys like them or not. They look ridiculous. And I am betting, if you ask the guy who loves them, the reason he wears them is because if he wears something else, it'll make people think that he's gay. I have a feeling it ties down to high school. That's why everybody wears hoodies and jeans, because it's very nondescript and you don't stand out and nobody calls you effeminate if you're wearing them. To that, I say you can always be the gay friend that all the girls in the circle sleep with. So being gay is not the worst thing in the world. Yeah, Paulo's catching on. You be the main character in your own life. So for style, I say fit matters more than anything. If you get, and Americans, I feel bad for you guys, man, because your clothing choices are just horrendous, especially if you want to buy a dress shirt. Everything fits like a tent. Armholes are coming way down to here. And this is one of those things that's nice. Yes, I have a skincare routine. I'll get to that too. So let me talk about my clothing routine first. So for me, I have a weird shaped body. I'm very lower body dominant. I've got big legs. I actually have to get pants and hem them in 2 inches because my legs are so big. That's why Pat's comment about me skipping leg day hurt my feelings. So I get custom fitted clothes or I tailor my clothes, which isn't a big deal. You don't need tons of clothes. You can buy the cheapest H&M khakis anywhere. You take them to a good tailor. You get him to taper it in, taper the leg to the proper length, and you're basically going to look like $1 million off a $40 pair of pants. I'd say the 2 big things, if nothing else, is make sure your waistline is good and make sure your hem length is good. The hem length is the space from your balls down to your ankle. The reason that's important is because if it's too long, it creates a break. Now, for clothes, you want a little bit of a break. For jeans, you kind of want it, and a break is where it has those little folds by your ankle. For normal pants, you maybe want a little bit of a break. If you have longer than that, what's going to happen is it's going to bunch around the ankle or around the kneecaps where your legs bend, and the whole thing is just going to look weird, especially if you're not a tall guy. That's going to cut your body off and make you look shorter. So this is why fit's important, more so than any other thing. Same thing with shirts. If you haven't, they're called darts. If you haven't seen them before, it's where on the back of your shirt down here, they actually take in the material and they sew it down from the back there. And that'll give yourself a V taper. Especially if you're in shape, you're going to want this because you have to buy bigger clothes just to fit your shoulders and your neck. But you don't want to look like a fatty. So you start tapering your clothes in, you hem your clothes properly. You can wear the same $5 t-shirts or the same $10 dress shirts and the same $40 khakis, and you'll still look $1 million better if you just hem it in. Clothes that fit. No, don't get smaller than your number. The last thing you want to do is have clothes that you start to get any pinching. Like where you start to get this. I'll tell you guys, actually, a funny story. When I was teaching at Fleet School, we had to do a parade. We brought a QL5 course, which is the guys who had done about 4 years, and they're coming in for their advanced training to learn how to be supervisors. So during our one parade, there was this one guy who sailed on the tanker. I can't remember his name, but he was a complete bag of hammers, completely useless. He went to the parade, and he didn't take care of any of his stuff. He got stuff that was too thin. His stuff was so skinny, even his hat bowed in the top. His double-breasted suit had pulled against the edge. His pants looked like yoga pants. They were so tight on him. We walked into parade, and I just walked in, and I saw like all of my peers there, all the teachers just standing in a line. I'm like, what the heck are they lining up for? And I walk, and they're taking turns berating this guy for embarrassing the whole department in front of the rest of the fleet. And so finally, by the time the 5th one got through, the senior instructor's like, all right, guys, you go back to class. You're skipping the parade, and we'll deal with this later. Because they're like, right now, you're more embarrassing than I need to dispense justice. And then the guy was so stupid, he like walked past the chief bosun mate, who's like the main guy who runs the parades. Guy you really don't want to mess with. Next to the coxswain, he's probably the saltiest guy. And he walked into his office and he asked him a question. And I don't know why he did that. But then as soon as the chief bosun mate saw him, he just screamed at him. And then he brought the senior instructor in. So the senior instructor had to scream at him, and they're both screaming at him. So they brought him back to the school, and We all had to take, like, none of us could berate him at that point because he just looked so funny. Nobody could keep a straight face. So finally the chief had to come down and do it. And he ended up crying. It was the most awkward thing ever. But yeah, the point of the story is get clothes that fit. Don't get slightly smaller. Just measure your number properly. Hey, Freelance, thanks for catching me live here. Normally these are more of a conversation. I have a guest, but both of my guests weren't able to make it today, so we're playing with what we got. We got another 20 minutes here. I'm just going over style. So yeah, the fittings. If you haven't seen it, you look up measurement charts. You learn to take your own measurements. I would say that's more important too for your workouts than it is to do your weight. Measurements don't lie. If you're putting on a bunch of muscle and you're losing a small amount of fat, you're actually going to look like you're gaining weight, and some guys might worry about that. But the tape doesn't lie. If your waist is going down, your chest is going up, then you know it's a good direction. So I always suggest use the measurements as opposed to doing the scale. So anyways, if you've been keeping track, we got you're building yourself as your mental point of origin. You're establishing boundaries. You've got a goal. You're working out. You're eating right. You're looking better. You're dressing well. And you're building all this stuff together. Now, the only thing you're missing now is that you're probably still unattractive. You still don't talk to women. And that's where we suggest you start learning pickup again. Now, the game's changed a lot. And a lot of the techniques and the rote memorization, those canned routines, they don't really work anymore. But the fundamentals are still good. And so you get a guy to learn pickup. Doesn't matter, Tom Terreo, TD Game, Troy Francis. Doesn't matter who you learn from. You're just learning it. And a lot of stuff. Sales will be the same way. If you have a sales job, you're probably going to pick up a lot of this stuff too. It's that art of persuading. And then you're going to start using that with your added style, with your added fitness level. You're going to start doing that. And they suggest you start doing it with your wife or your girlfriend. Whether you're with her or not, whether she's completely cold or doesn't like you, or she still has too much baggage of how much of a useless tard you used to be, that's fine. You're just practicing on somebody who's there with you right now. And you're giving her, and the rule is she gets first crack at your libido. She doesn't get sole custody. And you eventually get to the point where if she shoots you down, all right, that's fine. And then you go out and do your own thing. Same as like the gym bag, but maybe this time you go to Starbucks, you read a book. And then if you see a girl there, you'll talk to her. Maybe you picked up Daybang and you're practicing old man conversation. Maybe it's mystery and you're going to try an opinion opener. Doesn't really matter. You're not trying to sleep with anybody. You're just making yourself a conversation with strangers, engaging people. And then eventually, as that happens, you're going to notice that you start to, through experience, become more attractive when you speak with people. People start to resonate better with you. And as you get into better shape, the things that weren't so good before become good now. So you start to see what a difference your attractiveness makes. And what'll happen then is it spreads into the next level. At first, you're just doing it on your own when your wife shoots you down. And then eventually you start to just do it naturally. That's going to be your normal way of being. And this is where a lot of guys screw up. The Rambo thing that guys do right here is they try hitting on the waitress at the restaurant. Not how it works. Be friendly with the waitress. Talk with people. Be generally charming because that's who you are now. You've basically built yourself up to be this charming, attractive man. So of course, people are going to see you act charming and attractive towards them. The goal here is twofold, is that you're going to start getting indicators of interest. And the thing about girls is the most attractive part of you is pre-selection. So as girls start giving you side eye, as girls start engaging you with conversation, as they start getting a little bit flirty, the girl you're with will start to notice. Now, whether she notices or not, it doesn't matter to you. You're just being attractive to as many people as you can. You're starting to build abundance. For most wives, this is about where it ends because they realize that they're falling behind and they need to latch onto this guy and start putting in some effort or they're going to lose him. And if the girl still doesn't, at that point, you kind of have your answer on if she's in it or she's not in it. So you need to detach your emotional investment. And that's when you start building your abundance further. So you flirt, maybe do what we call catch and release. That's like flirt with a girl, then thank her, wish her well before you do anything that crosses the line of Jesus. And then by then, you've probably reached your 12-month mark. And this is where you got to start making the hard decisions. So let's take a worst case scenario. Worst case scenario, you got a girl that still won't fuck you, is nothing but disrespectful, completely argumentative. She's a little bit frumpy. She doesn't do anything for you. You, on the other hand, are attractive, you're fit, you're dressed sharply. Girls love to be around you. Guys love to hang out with you. You start making that decision. I think my decision is I'm going to ditch this girl and go make my way with somebody who's more receptive to what I bring to a relationship. And that's when you get a divorce game. I won't do it on this podcast because that's a fairly lengthy topic. We're really just skimming the surface here. And plus, I don't want to give away my consulting service stuff right away. So that's what I do with the map. How important is to be well-dressed at work? It's important to be well-dressed everywhere. Now, actually, I shouldn't say well-dressed. I'll say appropriately dressed. Because some guys can pull off jogging pants and a tank top, or flip-flops and cargo shorts, or not cargo shorts, but like normal shorts and a tank top at the beach. Just appropriately dressed. I think you should get to the bunker first. And so this is when you start to have your first mission. After about a year of eating humble pie for a year and building yourself up from zero, you build your first mission. In my case, mine was never to be taken advantage of or taken for granted again. It's a fairly simple mission. How it manifests all depends on the opportunities that are in front of me, so it's really good. And I'm really curious. We're going to end the cast in about 15 minutes here, but at the end, feel free to throw some comments or tweet at me what your guys' missions are if you've made it past that point. If not, high value. That's all respectful too. Just tell me that you got back into lifting. I want to hear guys getting their act together because that's the whole point of this stuff. It's not about the money, because if it was, I'd stick with my corporate gig. It pays way better than you guys. No offense. So here, Paulo, he put a comment in here. It says, "Dread game. Make your wife or girlfriend play on the defense." I don't think you're understanding it properly, and there's a nuance to it. You're not dreading your wife or girlfriend to get her to do anything. That's a covert contract, and it's not going to work. They'll see right through it. They'll call your bluff, because girls always call bluffs. They're hardwired for it. And all you're going to do is end up butthurt because you did everything you were supposed to do and she didn't respond in kind. Dread is just a fancy word that we use to make things sound edgy. Like, we have to use things. We have to use the term from the Matrix, the red pill, because it's catchy enough to get guys to attach to it. We have to say things like dread because it makes guys feel empowered. Like, yeah, dread. If we'd call it, that's why CrossFit has like combat names as their exercises. Ignore the idea of dread. It's just a word to elicit an emotional response. We're borrowing women's tools here. We're emotionally doing a bait and switch. We sell you on revenge, and then we deliver self-actualization. So that's the secret of the red pill, if you guys wanted to know. But dread is a branch swing adopted for male sensibilities. This person's not doing enough in your life to be valuable enough to keep. Fine. So you're taking a deliberate set of steps to detach yourself from this relationship and put yourself in position for another one. That's it. How she acts doesn't change. The stay plan is the same as the go plan. Hopefully that helps articulate it a bit. Yes, skincare routine. Thank you, Philbert. My skincare routine is fairly straightforward. By the way, so I met with my brother on vacation here and his new girlfriend, and she thought that he was the older brother because I have the more youthful face. My routine is fairly straightforward. I exfoliate. I actually have, the Axe loofah that looks like a tire, because, men need tires. But just every now and then you give your face a scrub, get rid of all the dead skin cells, and just use a moisturizer and make sure you drink a lot of water. It's literally that simple for me. For moisturizers, I don't mind. I'm not going to buy a $100 fancy moisturizer, but I'm not going to buy a $2 one from the grocery store either. I find, like, you get to that $20 range, you'll get one that lasts you like 6 months. It's perfect. Another thing I do in the winter, because I find the winter sucks the moisture right out of you, and I end up with huge dry skin. What I'll do is I'll actually take baby oil into the shower, and then once you're done showering, you give yourself like a nice little coat. And the idea is it helps you hold the whole moisture in, so you don't end up losing so much. You don't oil yourself up like you're doing a bodybuilding thing. It's just like a nice thin coat. Sounds a bit weird, but once you start doing it and you realize you don't have like dry elbows and you don't have gray skin hanging off of you, you probably won't go back. And that's really all there is to it. I wish I could say there was some fancy routine and a fancy combination of products and eat guayaba juice, but no, man. Most moisturizers don't actually moisturize. All they do is they They moisturize the dead cells already on you, so you scrape those off, and then the moisturizer is just a protective coat over your body to keep moisture from escaping your body. The rest of it is just keeping yourself hydrated. Once your body starts losing moisture and it starts having to fight for all the water it can get, it takes it out of your skin, puts it towards your vital organs. So that's why a lot of you guys are going to have dry skin. Yeah, see, that's the thing, Vern. Like, everybody loves to make red pill out to be secret knowledge. They make taking care of yourself out to be this nice fancy routine. It's really simple consistency, and that's it. Stay out of the sun as much as you can. I got dark as hell here. I was in the shade. I got maybe 20 minutes of sun for this entire week, and I've out darkened everybody. Any band of exfoliating scrub you recommend? Like I said, I just bought that little Axe loofah that looks like a tire. It's got the red scrubby side and then the black loofy side, and I just take the red scrubby side and just give myself a once over. Just something to scrub the skin. You don't want to do it until you're red, like you're not trying to scrape the skin off. It's not like Gattaca where you're taking all genetic traces, but all you need to do is scratch off the levels. You can use the micro beads in that, but I keep hearing people talking about how it kills whales and ups your estrogen, so I don't even bother with that. Simpler the better. Okay, so we're gonna do. I don't have anything else planned for the next 15 minutes, so I'm gonna go through your guys' comments and see if I can address any of the questions you guys got here. I definitely have to replay this one to catch the beginning. Great stream. Thank you, Freelance Ronan. I appreciate it. Feel free to like, subscribe, smash that like button, recommend it to your friends. For Future MD, when does the book coming out? The book is coming out when I finish the book. It's I've got all the points that I want to talk about, all the material. I've mostly got things written down. I find it's a hell of a job to put it into a narrative that you can read from start to finish that makes sense. So I'm getting there. My end goal is I want to have it finished and on shelves by the end of the year. So we'll see how well I stick to that. Or if I end up with one of those guys who has had the same book on pre-order for 5 years now. You can tell somebody that. Tell whoever you want that. Freelance Ronan, do you think they would hire a 27-year-old guy for sales with zero experience? I'm not the best sales guy, but Hacker Boy, the one thing I've seen on this, and that's the beauty of it, is when you're interviewing for a job, you're doing a sales pitch right there. You're selling them on your skills. So if you're able to get that sales job at 27 with zero experience, that means they can see you're a good enough salesman to sell them on it. And there's all kind of techniques people use. I won't get into it too much because I'm going to stick to my lane here, but I'll skip over here. Red Pill Vegan Veteran Man, I'm recognizing your name. Ryan, my boy has 2 kids and his girlfriend is controlling and manipulative. He's blue pill and beta. She's now talking about up and cuckoldry. So he's just going to get divorced raped? Probably. I hate to say it. If he's not willing to advocate for himself, she's going to take as much from him as she can. I wish I could offer something, but he's really gotten to like the 2-yard line and he's asking us how to win the Super Bowl. It's a very difficult thing. Like I said, the best he can do is just go through the roadmap, just like I described there, get into the material and start doing his thing. And then however things happen is how they happen. There's nothing you can really do about it at this point. And then to JW Hames, does Dread Game only work as a guy in a relationship, or should you be using it as a single guy as well? And how? If you're in a short-term relationship, or if she's a plate, or if it's just like a brand new girlfriend, just next her. It's way easier. Thank her for teaching you the blind spots and wish her well. You don't want to invest more than you have to. Dread is specifically useful for a guy who can't just next a girl right away. That's the whole reason it exists. Otherwise, the red pill advice between a married and a single guy would just be next the bitch. If you have real estate together, if you have a kid together, if you're in a position where you can't replace her in a week, then yeah, a little bit of Dread Game is fine because that's the point of it. But if you're just with a girlfriend that you've been with less than a year, you have no kids, just ditch her. Why would you root through garbage? It's the iron rule. Why would you root through garbage when you can find somebody who's more willing, who doesn't have the baggage of how shitty you used to be attached to it? Beta male strategies. Love the username, by the way. How do you make yourself feel entitled to the hottest girl so game comes easy? That is the way you frame that is a horrible question. First off, nobody's entitled to anything. It's been the rule as long as pickup's been around. It's been around since like the early 90s. Game doesn't help you get that girl. It helps you get more girls. And what you want to do is get enough girls where the hottest girl doesn't matter to you, because that is nothing to do with the girl. That's the LBG technique of how do I get the hot blondes and vagine. Girls are hot, but everything's like, lots of girls are hot. There's tons of hot girls. What you want to get to the point of is the point where whether she's attractive or not doesn't change how you act. What you want there is you want a status symbol, because you're insecure about your value as a man. And so you're using that as a surrogate. What I would suggest for you is start with the bush leagues. One of my favorite field reports. I've really got to bring it over to the new blog. It's Red Pill even works when you're, oh no, not the 52-year-old one. He was 50, got divorced, and he was getting back in the game. And he didn't know how to hit on girls. He said a 4 out of 10, a little portly Puerto Rican girl. And then he got himself a black girl. He had like 3 or 4 out of 10s on his roster. And he wasn't too proud about it. He's like, yeah, they weren't the best girls, but you know what? I'm getting laid on the regular, and it's nice. And so what he found then is that he was going out and meeting girls. He called this one like a 7 out of 10, older, but 7 in his eyes. She started giving him a bunch of grief, and he's like, oh, she is a lot cuter than the one I got back home, but the one back home is going to make me dinner and we're going to have sex. So is she hot enough for me to put up with this? And then he started building abundance off of it. So to answer your question, start in the bush leagues. Get the girl that you can get, and then worry about getting hotter and hotter from there. And then you're going to learn the nuance of how you value women in your life. Attractiveness is definitely going to get her through the door, but after a certain threshold, you realize she has to be more value, even if it's just for an 8-hour girlfriend or a plate. Because if she's a supermodel, but all she does is berate you, I guarantee you're going to get tired of that really quickly. Second question here from Andy. Does social media likes and comments from a girl mean anything? Nope. The only thing that means something is if she lets you put your dick in her. Everything else is just placation. They're very easy to fake signals. I mean, you talk to Tate when he does his thing. His girls act all flirty. They tell you they're the greatest man ever. They'll fill your ego. Doesn't mean anything. Will she sleep with you? If not, then that's not genuine desire, and that's not genuine validation. Like I said, go and read my essay on sex and violence. It's the 2 measures of a man. Can you fight and can you fuck? If she's not willing to touch you that way, then everything she's given you is lies. Act accordingly. Don't be mad about it. Just the way the game works. Next question from Eli Iris. Question. You've got 3 girls in your frame. Girls aren't in your frame. You're in your own frame. They just want to be in your frame, or they want to be in your world. The frames, or whatever. Anyways, you got 3 girls in your frame, and their competing boyfriends are there too. Very invisible. What do? I don't want to die. Don't threaten them. Yeah, you're just being your charming self. You have no idea what's going on. You're playing aloof. If girls are flirting with you and they got boyfriends, if you're worried about the boyfriends, like, are you sleeping with all 3 of the girls? If then you're worried about the boyfriends getting petty and vindictive, I would say if that's a worry for you, then don't sleep with the girls. But I would say this, for most of the guys, and I don't know if he's in the chat right now, so he'll bring it up. Once he got divorced from his wife, he started playing the field, and he noticed a lot of girls in relationships were attracted to him because she was doing what their boyfriends weren't. And every time there was a confrontation, the guy wasn't, like, he acted angry, but he wasn't trying to fight. It was more like desperate plays on their part to get validated that you're not supposed to be sleeping with my girl. So I would find that 99% of the time, guys aren't going to do anything, which is really sad. If we were in a place where if a guy got cheated on and he went and beat up the other guy, we'd probably have a lot more men with better frame out there. It'd be a step in the right direction. But as it stands now, like I said, I can't tell you not to worry about it just in case you actually get beat up. But yeah. David, what changes to people around me if I change from someone who doesn't dress well to someone who is dressing up? Is my image ruined and forever in regards of looks in their heads? Don't care about that. Don't care. But the psychological thing is people have mental schemas. So they think of you as an archetype. And if you change that archetype, people generally react poorly because it's easier for them to tell you to start acting the way you've always acted than it is for them to mentally recalibrate what you are like in their head. But if that even enters your thought, then you're doing it wrong. You're just doing your thing. If anybody calls you on it saying you've changed, you're different, just shrug. I don't know. I think I bought some new socks. Just laugh it off. The more normal you treat any changes you do, the easier it's going to be for people to adjust to it. As soon as you start treating it like an event, that's when it becomes a battle, and then you're in another person's frame. It's a waste of time. Got juice. My question is, I know how to talk to women. The problem is getting them to come over, and am missing, if you know. This is the one where Carl does better on it. I find just always be escalating. I'm an old mystery guy, so I like running through the attraction, comfort, seduction routine there. The problem is, and if I could take a guess on here, Juice, is that you are not being upfront with your intentions. I mean, you don't walk up and say, yeah, I'm going to sleep with you. But you walk up, and as you talk with her, you're first gauging to see if you're comfortable enough around her that she's not going to be crazy and try and stab you in your sleep. Once you got that, you want to have a sexual relationship with her. No shame in that. Guys like sleeping with girls. Who'd have thunk? Everything about you needs to be screaming that. So you're making things sexual. You're touching her, to make sure she's good with it. And these are like those little things you do. So like you touch a girl on the arm, she responds positively. You mean that's a yes signal. If you touch her on the arm and she pulls away, that's obviously a no signal. It's not sexual. And then you pull away, go do your own thing, find somebody else. But the reason you're probably not closing is either A, your logistics suck. Like if she told you at any point during that date, I want to sleep with you, take me home now. If you don't have a plan for that, then you don't have logistics. Get those in order and then be honest with your intentions. You're always escalating. I won't go into the nuances of it because we don't have the time here. I've only got a couple more minutes. I'm going to close off on the quarter 2 so I can get ready for Redman Group. For future MD, by the way, I love these coffee talks. Keep them coming. Thanks, man. By the way, it's really nice to be sobering up with a coffee now. Ige Ceylan, I realize you can't give any red pill advice to people in a higher social status than you are or think they are from, even if they are painfully beta, and you'll get in a fight if they are type A. Yeah, I just don't give people advice anyway. Most of the time when you want to red pill your friends, it's because you're looking for validation. Hey, man, I did this. You should do this too. It's a great post by Whisper on Reddit. If you look it up in the red pill, it's called, you got to stick your head in this bucket right now. If you can look it up, it's hilarious. And it kind of establishes why you don't want to red pill your friends, because it looks just ridiculous. Don't talk to them about it. Live it. If you can't look like an attractive enough man that people want to know what you're doing, then you're not going to red pill them anyway. All you're showing them is a loser who's telling them how to pretend to not be a loser, and they won't buy it. That's why I always tell guys, like, stop telling people red pill. Like, just stop. You're really, really killing our marketing. Just be attractive. Ruben here. What is the best start to learn game? I always start with the mystery method. Look up Mystery's work. He had DVDs back in the day. I would say Daybang by Roosh is still a good one. Kind of sucks how he found, how he's gone extra religious now, but I still think it's a nice one. I've heard good things about Tom Torreo. For my people that I consult, I also have like a Tinder guide that we've built from the Mallard Cove Red Pill Tinder guide, which is awesome. So Vegan, you found it. Yeah, Whisper Host Fire. He's awesome. He's one of the original guys that nobody's ever heard of, but really should have. He's right up there with Archwinger, I'd say. So I got 1 more minute. I'm going to do my shilling here. Thank you guys for showing up to the cast. Normally these things are more conversational, but I'm hoping this still got some value for you guys. Smash that subscribe and like button, bell notifications, get the thing, check out the videos. I also have a Patreon page that's _Rian_Stone. So I give a lot of premium content to those guys outside of the loop, as well as the second tier where I offer a group consulting where I kind of do something like this, but it's more geared towards their specific situations. I'm actually going to set that one up now for the guys, so I got to check on after this. They've been very patient so far this month, so thank on them. As always, you can go to my website, ryanstone.com. I have a lot of my writings there. I as well have my full-on male action plan consulting service, as well as one-off calls. So if you're the kind of guy that's trying to build himself from 0 to hero, take the full 12 months, I've got you covered on there. We add accountability to it. We offer a lot of the details. I build up your own personalized, it's almost like an autobiography in the future that you can read on yourself on what you need to do and how to get there. Very deliberate steps. At the same time, if you're 90% of the way there and you just need to ping a single problem off, I also offer a one-off call. Feel free to get on those. Once you sign up to either one, you're going to get a confirmation email with a booking link. The booking link is the way we get our one-on-one calls. We can do it via Skype if you want anonymity, or we can also do the Google Hangouts, either way. So I'm going to end off. Yeah, sorry, Alex. I'm going to end off right now. I got to get ready for the Red Man group. So in 15 minutes, we're going to get on with Rolo and Friends, guys.